In the year 1287, in the Forgotten Valley of Ravenshollow, there lived a family whose name had been wiped from all official records. The villagers whispered about them, but none dared approach their manor perched at the edge of the Blackwood forest. The father, Lord Edric, was a stoic man who rarely spoke. His wife, Lady Marwen, was said to be a healer, though no one had seen her in over a decade. Their only child, Elric, was a pale boy with eyes too old for his age and a silence that unnerved anyone who met him. Every full moon, strange howls echoed from the forest, and shadows danced unnaturally on the walls of the manor. People spoke of curses, of old blood magic, and of a pact sealed with something not of this world. One night, a traveling monk named Brother Thomas arrived in Ravenshollow. He claimed to be seeking ancient texts lost during the old Crusades, but took immediate interest in the manor. The villagers warned him, pleaded with him not to go near it, but curiosity burned hot in his chest. On the third night, he walked the crooked path to the manor under the blood moon. The door opened before he knocked. Elric stood there, still as stone, staring. "Come in," the boy said, voice barely above a whisper. Thomas entered, and the door closed behind him with a final thud. The manor was filled with cold air, as if the walls breathed frost. Portraits lined the halls, but all the faces were scratched out. In the grand hall, Lord Edric waited, cloaked in black. "You seek truth," he said, "but truth is a blade." Thomas nodded, offering an old leather-bound book. "I believe your family is tied to the Order of the 13th Flame. I need to know what happened in the Winter of Ashes." At the mention of that event, Edric's eyes darkened. "That knowledge has a price," he said. From the shadows, Lady Marwen emerged. Her skin was pale as snow, eyes hollow, lips sewn shut by golden thread. She raised a hand, trembling, pointing at Thomas. He fell to his knees, visions flooding his mind, villages burning, children screaming, a great fire devouring everything while 13 hooded figures stood chanting in a forgotten tongue. Thomas woke hours later, alone in the forest, his book missing. A week passed before he could speak again. When he returned to the village, his hair had turned completely white. He never spoke of what he saw, but he left behind a single page torn from his book, hidden beneath a floorboard in the chapel. Centuries later, that page would be discovered. It read, "The family bears the mark of the flame, bound by oath to guard the final gate. When the last shadow falls upon the moon, the pact shall break, and the Hollow King will rise again." What followed was a series of unnatural deaths. First, the village blacksmith found his forge turned to ash overnight, and his body twisted as if burned by unseen fire. Then, all the birds disappeared from the valley. At night, villagers saw Elric standing motionless outside their homes, staring, before vanishing in the blink of an eye. One night, the sky turned red, and the ground shook. A hunter ventured into the Blackwood and found the manor gone. Only a circle of scorched earth remained, with a spiral of bones at its center. In the middle stood a single candle, still lit. Decades passed, but Ravenshollow was never the same. Children were born with strange markings on their skin. Livestock refused to breed. Dreams turned violent. Eventually, the village was abandoned. Centuries later, a group of scholars unearthed the spiral of bones during an excavation. One touched the center and immediately began speaking an ancient language none could understand. He vanished the next morning, leaving behind pages filled with symbols no one could decipher until a young linguist named Ada cracked a single phrase. "He sleeps beneath the manor that was, and shall rise when the last of his blood is claimed." Driven by obsession, Ada tracked the legend back to the ruins and camped there. She recorded voices whispering her name at night. Dreams of fire and screaming. On the 13th night, she disappeared. Only her notebook remained, soaked in ash, open to a final entry. "The boy is still here. He never left. He watches. He waits. He remembers." To this day, hikers near the old valley report strange cold spots, whispers in dead languages, and the fleeting figure of a pale boy with ancient eyes standing just beyond the trees. Some say he is a guardian, others believe he is the last of the cursed bloodline. But one thing is certain: when the moon bleeds again, Ravenshollow will wake, and the story of the family forgotten will begin once more.